on my Instagram page, it's what I do. I post my business
and
on
I
there.
just love your page. I know I follow that page like crazy just because some of the stuff that you have on there gives me great ideas on how I want to design my house.
And I like to give a little bit of everything.
Yes, you give
the
tours.
I like to show my clients what I do for my buyers. You know what I mean? What kind of gifts I give them. What what the process is.
You do a lot of those gifts on your own, right?
Yeah,
You're very,
I put those all together. Yeah.
Hey everyone. Welcome to another stinking great episode of Women in Real Estate, powered by Badass Agents Podcast. So this is great. I love today because today a beautiful woman is going to join me today. Dana, I've known her for quite some time, but what's so beautiful about her are her eyes.
Oh my God.
Don't show her yet. She's amazing. I'm just kidding. So I want to talk about, I remember this one moment. Brought me back to a moment that I'm going to talk about today on your first purchase. Now I remember when I purchased my first home, I think I was like 22, 23. I was fairly young. It was my early 20s. And I remember going to dinner with friends that we knew we were going to discuss our first purchase. So at the time, who I'm married with, A.Z. Araujo, was my boyfriend. So we were going to purchase this home together. So I remember we were so excited. We're going to dinner and we're going to discuss with our friends on the great news and some of the things to look for because they had already had their house and they bought it, I believe 3 years prior before us. So as we're sitting at dinner, I'm talking about how excited I am to buy this house and they haven't broken ground yet. It's going to be a new build, so on and so forth. And AZ and I are looking and glaring at each other, all the excitement. And we're like, yes, it's great. And as soon as she tells me, oh my gosh, you're not going to believe on some of the crazy mess you're going to go through. Sometimes I can't even afford to buy shampoo because I need to pay my mortgage. And in my mind, I'm like, what? Like it went from a high to a low. And I was like, I'm really nervous right now. Yeah. Like I'm young. I don't want to foreclose on a house. I'm 30. I'm like, what the heck? So she's going on and about all about the negative part of it. If you don't make your mortgage payment, they're gonna take your home. And I'm like, they haven't even broken ground yet. I just saw like the design of it. I mean, I don't know. I haven't even got to that first step yet. But her and her husband, were happy to tell us all the ugliness that was going to happen. So anyway, this brings me to introducing my guest today, Brigette Alvarez. And here she is. So tell us, Brigette, have you ever had that moment? I know that you are purchasing
I recently purchased last year, August of last year, but that wasn't my first purchase. I've purchased a home before back in 2011. But it wasn't really for me. It was for my parents. I think I was like 21 at the time.
So wait. So you purchased a home when you were 21
yes.
for your parents?
Yes. I was making like $14 an hour, I remember. And my parents...
At any moment were you like, this is not what I should be doing? Or you just went with it?
No, I was the one that suggested it. Let me buy a house in my name for you guys. Because I think I was 21 and I was going to college at the time and I had 2 jobs. I was working at a restaurant and I was working at a bank.
So you weren't even an agent?
No, I wasn't even an agent. I worked, actually... I worked at a real estate office as a manager there. That's where I met you guys. And but I didn't know how to purchase one. I've never purchased one before. So I just knew a few things. And my parents had let their house go because we purchased in 2005. Obviously, that was like the worst time to purchase. We came from California. And they were underwater in the home like a lot of people were. In 2011, I said, you know what, let me see if I can get finance, if I can purchase one in my name for you guys. I'm living with you guys at the time because I was going to school and working at a real estate company. And I got qualified at $14 an hour. And I did everything pretty much. My parents, even I was purchasing in my name, but it was for my parents. I picked the home. However, it wasn't a smooth transaction. I had an agent that was working for me, and
What were some of the things that you went through?
So I didn't understand the process at all. I understand nothing.
And that's why I wanted to talk about my first purchase, because I remember, and you were such a perfect. I thank you for joining me today, because it was such a perfect example of that. You were so young, and I believe we were both young when we first bought our house, and I just remember being out there and so excited about it. but yet so many things went wrong in that.
Exactly.
So I just remember being part of a wrong environment of friends that were like, AZ and I believe, were the first ones that bought our home.
Yeah.
So, and so when we run into them, we're like, oh, let's get great advice by somebody who's already been there. So, but I just remember them sitting there and saying,
nothing but negative
it was
stuff.
negative. And I'm just like,
negative,
oh my gosh, I'm so nervous.
Yeah.
So I'm so glad you mentioned that on so many things gone wrong. But what were some of the things that went wrong?
I literally didn't understand anything. I didn't even understand. It wasn't explained to me what down payment was. Even though I worked on the back end of real estate, I wasn't an agent. I didn't understand what closing costs were, what a down payment was, how much it was going to cost. I don't know, but I guess I went in thinking the house was going to be free. And I remember the biggest thing was 2 weeks before we were going to close on the house. I was told, okay, you need to come up with $7,000, Brigette. And I had no money. We had no money, like no money saved. I didn't relay that to my dad that we needed this much money. And I was like, this is how much the down payment is. And I don't know what I was thinking. I wasn't really told how much I needed to put down. And I remember it was hard. Like my dad started selling a lot of his toys just to come up with this down payment at the last minute, 2 weeks prior to closing. So you were never
informed any
No,
of that?
I wasn't. I didn't understand anything. On top of that, we came up with the money within 2 weeks, all that money. And also, the lender was horrible. I didn't pick my lender. The lender was just horrible.
So it's important on the lender that you
choose. Oh my God, yeah. And the date that we were supposed to close, he was out on vacation and didn't tell me he was on vacation, which is fine. You know, we all do our own thing. We all, we're going to go on vacation, but as long as you have somebody that's going to take over, or as long as you're going to
pick up your calls.
Exactly. And that didn't happen at all. I remember I couldn't get a hold of him. And the day that we're supposed to close, and I remember I was doing the work as far as like trying to get a hold of my lender. I need to close. I was so stressed out. I literally, no lie, I was so sick. For the first couple weeks, I was like sick to my stomach. I couldn't eat. I was overly stressed out with the paperwork, and I just didn't feel like I was guided well. And again, I called the office for the lender, and they didn't even know what was going on, who was taking over. Nobody was given instructions, to take over. I had to extend an extra week, and at the end of the day, it got done. I got a really good home for my parents. I picked it, and they came up on equity big time because it was 2011.
So it's kind of neat that you said you are purchasing, or you did already purchase your second one.
Yes, exactly. And that one went pretty smooth. Obviously, I was
now
an agent.
You're your own agent.
Yeah, and I know the process. I know what to.
Yeah. So what is? I just kind of want. I don't know. Just for the first-time home buyers out there, what is something to look for, as to looking for a new agent and lender? Who chooses your lender?
Well, really, I always tell my buyers, you can choose your own lender. That's totally up to you. However, usually when they choose their own lender, it's not a good transaction because they don't know their lender and they don't have experience with them. I always give them the option. Here are 3 lenders that I've worked with. I do 80% of my deals with them. I know how they work. And at the end of the day, I don't get anything in return. We don't get anything financially from the lender because we referred them. We get nothing. We can't. But what I get is good service. And at the end of the day, that's what I need to close my deals. And that's what my clients need.
I love this because
service.
Your passion in that process is huge because you've already been through that.
Exactly, yeah.
So
I know now I need my lenders to answer their phone calls on the weekends. If they're on vacation, I need them to answer the phone call or at least have somebody that I can get to because I have buyers. I run a business. This is what I live off of. I need, if it's a weekend, homes go in 2-3 days
and
right
it's
now.
Not even just the lender side of it. It's even just as an agent. The experience that you had with the last agent when you purchased your first house, not what you're looking for now.
Exactly.
Because now you're an agent. So it's like you want to give back to your clients the great service possible.
And because I went through all that, and I've had those experiences, I know what I should give to my clients. I know how, and I explain to my clients all the time, you guys can email me, call me, text me 20 times a day. And a lot of the first-time home buyers that I work with, they do all day long, all night long. But I give them, I make them feel comfortable that they're allowed to do that because I know how it feels when you have a million questions, and especially first-time home buyers. They don't understand a lot of things. You don't understand terms. You don't understand the process. Sometimes you're told it, and then, it's just not clear to you on, what it is. And I tell them, I want you to be 100% clear on every step of the way, because this is not going to be your first home that you purchase.
Right.
This is going to be, you know, you're going to buy another house in a couple of years. You're going to come to me and you want to sell it, and you're going to want to buy another home. And I want to prepare you on what to do to make these good investments, you know, later on.
Oh, that's awesome. So because this is Women in Real Estate, and obviously I have a phenomenal agent, as you can see, can we zoom in on her eyes?
Oh my God. I don't even pay attention to them because I'm not walking around looking at. You know what I mean?
Well,
but everybody always, you know, they come. But I don't pay attention. I feel like I have brown eyes like everybody.
This is what's great. This is what I love about this brokerage. I'm surrounded by beautiful women, and I'll say that again. This brokerage, I am surrounded by powerful, beautiful women, and you haven't followed us on this whole week. I've been interviewing so many, and I don't like to say interview. Let me take that back. I've been conversating in these podcasts with powerful women and beautiful women. That's what makes it so great. I'm just like, she's talking, and I don't know about you guys, but I'm just like in awe with her eyes. Because that's besides the point.
It's lighting too.
Where can your clients, if somebody wants to know more information about your business, where can they reach you?
I really want my clients to check me out on my social media, specifically Instagram. I'm on there more than Facebook, I would say. And the reason I want my clients to go to my Instagram page is because, you know, there's so many agents out there. Everybody knows an agent. Everybody, my mom, my aunt, everybody's an agent, you know. And it's hard to just pick, you know. A lot of people don't just sit down and interview agents, you know what I mean? They just go with whoever referred them. But if they go to my Instagram page, they can see what I do. I post on my Instagram page, it's what I do. I post my business on there.
And I just love your page. I know I follow that page like crazy just because some of the stuff that you have on there gives me great ideas on how I want to design my house.
And I like to give a little bit of everything.
Yes, you give
the
tours.
I like to show my clients what I do for my buyers. You know what I mean? What kind of gifts I give them. What the process is.
You do a lot of those gifts on your own, right?
Yeah,
You're very,
I put those all together. Yeah.
They're
not easy.
No.
They're not easy.
Did you always have that touch?
I've always been like really creative. I like to. I mean, if you go to my Instagram page, you'll see that I'm very particular on how I like to show things. You know what I mean? And I like, you know, things to look nice and perfect. And my gifts are, you know, they kind of show that I take time to give them, you know, because at the end of the day, like, they're closing on a home. This is like their first home, and I just want it to make it that much more like exciting.
I love your gifts.
You know?
That's one of the things I follow. I love your gifts.
The
fact that you have,
so now I'm like, I have to make sure I do.
The fact that you have time to create something phenomenal for your clients, it's not store bought. Yeah. I see you with spray paint out there and all kinds of stuff, and which goes on to my next
staging stuff too.
For your stage, and I just love it because it's really you. You're literally putting in so much work in these homes. But goes to my next thing. Brigette has a 2-year-old. 3 years old now.
So be 4 in August.
She has a little boy, and if you want to see her on Instagram and on Facebook and everything, you'll see her little sidekick, and he's constantly helping you design all these things for your clients, which is super awesome. But how do you find that balance? I know with me, it's crazy with the kids. By the time I wake up, I go to bed, running podcasts and business and fitness programs and all that stuff. But how do you do it? How do you find that balance?
It's not easy, and I really can't do all things at once. You know, truthfully, like, my house isn't well organized. On top of, you know, cooking and cleaning.
So it doesn't look like your Instagram?
No, it does. There's parts of it. It depends what day of the week it is. It depends how much I'm able to do. But as a single mom, I can't do everything at once. And right now, I'm slowly learning that, and I'm still learning how to balance everything. And it's not perfect, but I just have to find a way to take care of it all. But the number one thing that helped me grow my business was having my son in daycare. And that was something that...
Let me repeat that. The one thing that helped her grow her business is having her son in daycare. Knowing that it's okay to get help.
Yes, exactly.
And not feeling the guilt as a mom.
You can't honestly, like, you can't have a full-time or live off real estate doing it part-time. You just can't. I thought I could. For some reason, I thought, I'm going to have a kid.
How long were you part-time in real estate? Were you
2 years.
2 years. Oh, that's right.
2 years. And I didn't intentionally want to be part-time. I thought that I'm an agent. I can create my own hours. You know, I can do it, you know, answer emails and phone calls.
That's why I saw you hustling even when you had a little belly there.
I was. I was showing houses
and
everything. In the summer, and with my belly. And
I remember running, I remember opening the brokerage. I remember being pregnant too, and I had to wear heels, and I had to, like,
I couldn't. I was too big.
It was crazy.
But it was rough. But once I had him, I really couldn't. I was home a lot, and I was trying to work from home with him, and it was just insane. I couldn't do it. I couldn't do it, and my numbers showed that I just couldn't be a full-time mom and be a full-time real estate agent. I just couldn't. And what changed is actually AZ called me. He called me one time, you know, as he always calls you and just kind of checks up and seeing how's business going. And he called me on a time where I was really having a bad day, and I was home with my son. And he's like, so how's business going? And I'm like, it's horrible. Like I just started venting to him. I said, I can't do this. I'm not used to, you know, I've never obviously had a kid before. I've always been on the go. I've always been, you know, had several jobs, and, you know, I've always just been, you know, kind of a go-getter and really driven, and doing things and working and making my own money. I've always made my own money. And he said, okay, well, the next check that you get, you need to go put him in daycare. And I'm like, well, you know, it costs a lot. You know,
you were like, how dare you tell me to put my kid?
I don't have the money. I go, I don't have the money right now. He's like, no, the next check that you get, the next closing, like, when's your next closing? I was like, it's like in 2 weeks. He's like, get that check. And he goes, forget about your other bills. Forget about credit card bills. Let it go. Like, pay your daycare. And we had that conversation. I hung up, and I remember crying that day because I felt so guilty putting my son in daycare.
And you had to start that separation.
Yeah, well, not only that, and then it's just a fear of, you hear a lot of things out there, daycare, and that's why a lot of people don't do it, because they're scared of, you know, all the things we see on TV, you know. But, you know, I remember talking to my dad, and he reassured me. He's like, I deliver to a lot of daycares. I see that there's a lot of good ones out there, you know, and they treat the kids really well. You just have to go find one. So the next day, literally the next day, I went to 2 daycares, and I didn't choose the cheapest daycares, but I was set on, this is what I'm comfortable with, in putting my son, regardless of how much the cost was.
But let me ask you this question, because I know a lot of women go through this. They fight with themselves, actually. They have this battle in their minds, going back and forth with, it's much better off me raising my child than somebody else.
Everybody says that, yeah.
Yeah, so if you would have never, because I know for me, I was going crazy. Because you and I are very similar in that, like, we've always worked, we've always made our own money, and all of a sudden we're pregnant, we're like, whoa, what just happened to us, right? And and I don't know about you, but for me, I got lost for many years, and I was running the business from home, and still, you know, having to handle my baby and then a toddler, and it was just getting crazy. I started
feeling like that.
But I think if I would have said, you know what, I'd rather just stay at home, I'd rather raise my kids, work from home, and be the housemaid, I mean, you know, everything, like the housemaid, the secretary and everything, and the nanny and every housekeeper, I think I'm going to be okay if I had that mindset. But because I'd be like, okay, well, I'm raising my kids, I'm good, right? But I think eventually, when the kids would have went off to school, I would have been completely
even more so lost.
Even
and that's
more
what
lost. Yeah, like what is going? You know, I'm lost. I'm just, all I know is how to stay home and run a business from home. I don't know people. I can't have a conversation, or I just feel lost. I feel disempowered in a sense.
Exactly, and that's exactly what I started feeling. And I've never felt like that in my entire life. Like again, I've always worked multiple jobs, go to school. Like I've always had goals. And the minute I was home with my son, it just took so much out of me, like mentally. Like I felt like I was losing myself. I felt like I had no goals. Like even though I did, I just felt like I couldn't accomplish them, you know? And it's no like disrespect at all to stay-at-home moms. That's something that I could never, I don't feel like I'm strong enough to do, because it takes so much out of you. I'm not strong enough to
not only does it take so much courage to say, as a woman, I'm just not a stay-at-home mom. Because so many people can be out there judging us. Like, we just don't want to stay-at-home moms are like, you have no idea how much you're missing out on. And, you know, so they have a different opinion on working moms, right? So, again, it's just one big crazy mess. And but it's whatever you prefer.
Exactly.
I just know that inside I couldn't do it.
I couldn't do it.
I had to be honest with that. And I felt horrible to say, I want to be a working professional. I want to get out of here. It's not that I don't love my child.
Oh no, everybody knows I love my son. Right. But it's just, and I've always wanted to be a mom. I've always wanted to be a mom. But I always wanted to work too and make sure that I was always independent. And you know, and literally the minute I put him in daycare, my business that month of 2017, I put him in July 2017, and the end of the year, I did like the best I've ever had, the best quarter I've ever had. All because I put him in. I had that much time, and I didn't take my time for granted, because I remember being at home with him, how much time I didn't have. So when I put him in daycare, I just hustled. Like I was just like, okay, I'm paying for this daycare. I need to make my money worth it. You know what I mean? And and then it, you know, it grew from there. It grew. And it's
I just love the commitment that you've made, not only to yourself, but to your clients. Because I know even when you came in, you said, hey, I need an office. I need an office now. And I'm like, well, you live at home by yourself and your kids at daycare. Like,
do you need that? Everybody told me, why, my family told me, I mean, you really need that extra expense.
Right, but I remember you were just like, I need to give the best to my clients. When I meet my clients, I want to make sure they're in my office. They're not meeting at a Starbucks or a conference room. I need my, so I love that all the time you always come back with wanting to give more to your clients, more to yourself, more to the growth of your business.
Exactly.
You don't think small. And that's why I was so excited, because I've known you for years. I've known her for quite some time. We've watched each other grow. That's what's crazy, and I love that. And that's why I was just like, I see you growing, constantly wanting more, more, more. And it's insane on the speed that you're running. I just love watching you. And, you know, it's just like, oh, there's those green eyes. Just passing me by again.
I just feel like I have to. You know, life changed for me drastically last year. And there was a lot of things, like, it kind of just hit me, opened my eyes, as far as you can ever, how do I say it? Not be able to take care of yourself. I feel like I always am going to need to feel like I always have to make sure that I can take care of myself and my son.
Speaking of that, what are your hobbies? What do you love? What are some of your hobbies? What do you do?
I don't have many hobbies right now, only because I'm so
your
busy.
Crafts?
I do. I work a lot. Right now, I'm in the position where I'm really have put all my energy into my work. Honestly, I do. And my son.
And you know what? I love that. There's no regret.
I don't have any.
Yeah. I had somebody told me that. I had somebody ask me the other day.
Something like
I had somebody tell me the other day, don't you, do you ever relax? Do you ever take time off? And it's like, no. And I don't know how to tell you that I actually love, and I think I said it on the last podcast, I'm a workaholic, and I love, it's by choice. I love to work. Yeah. It's like, it's nice when you create something new and just, it becomes your baby.
Well, it's just not only that, but I feel like I have no other choice. I have a son that I raise. I'm a single mom. I'm one income only now. Like I don't have, I don't want to struggle. I don't want to not be able to take care of myself. You know what I mean? And I just feel like right now is a time that I need to make things happen big time. Like I have to move quickly.
Do you like hike? Do you hike? Do you like hiking? Do you meditate?
I mean, I wish I started hiking, but I just don't. I just haven't. You know, I have my son a lot. I do things with him.
Well, you look great, so you must be eating something healthy.
I wish.
She looks great. If you guys can see her in person, she actually looks great.
I do a lot of.
It must be genetics.
I guess, maybe.
You got hit with the good hair, the great eyes.
Okay, wait. The hair's not mine. The hair's not really mine. The hair's not mine. I don't think anybody has real hair, but I try to do things for myself, but I do a lot of things with my son, and that's because he's at daycare Monday through Friday, and I sometimes have that guilt that, you know, I want to make sure that I have fun with him on the weekends. So that's my hobby. He's my hobby. I take him everywhere with me.
That's awesome. No, I love the fact that you're just like, it's you're all in, and I don't know if you do what you do because you have to. You're forced to, just because I know you're the only income, but so many women out there, by the way, are like the only,
so many.
the only income.
Yeah.
And I see what you're saying on the more of the, hey, when I do have time, it's my son.
Yeah.
It's my son. So, and I love that. Since I've known you, you're a phenomenal woman in general, just an overall woman. So it's pretty, I love it. I love it. My other thing that I wanted to ask you, what did you find the difference? Like, when you purchased a new home now that you look like you found, and it's just you and your son.
Yes.
What were you looking for?
Truthfully, I wanted everything that I wanted in a home. I didn't want to settle. Even though a lot of people, when they become a single mom and it hits you like that.
That's where I'm going with this.
You think about like scarcity, like I need to save my money, I need to budget, I don't, I need to start cutting costs, and I need to buy like the cheapest home possible so I don't, worry about money. And honestly, I don't worry about it. I don't worry about it because I don't want to feel like, I feel like the moment you start cutting back on things that you feel you need to save, that's when you start working less type of thing. I always felt like, well, if I want to afford the house that I want, everything that I want, location that I want, the pool that I want, if I want to be able to afford that, then I just need to make more money. I don't need to cut costs. I don't need to like not have cable, not have my office that I don't really need. You know what I mean? I have an office space in my house. I don't feel like I should be cutting costs. I feel like I just need to make more money. I need to sell more houses. Like that's my mentality, and that's why I've been okay. Thank God I've been okay, and I've been able to pay for. I've been able to survive and pay for everything.
I love this podcast. This is such an inspiration to many single women out there who are wanting or looking for their first purchase, and not knowing. I guess their mindset is, I need to save before I purchase.
That's the worst. I don't think you should have that. I mean, I don't know. Maybe it's not the right. Maybe I shouldn't be. I don't know. I don't know the right answer. I don't know. But for me, I didn't think like that. I thought, you know what? I deserve a house like this. Yeah. Like I
no,
work,
and you know,
I
so
deserve
I don't
this,
think there's any right or wrong. It's what I guess it's our mindsets. You know, it's what we feel and what we think is right for us. What would you tell now? You know, you're not. It doesn't seem like you're only an agent, but you're such a huge inspiration to a lot of women out there. So, what would you tell a lot of the single moms out there that are like, hey, I'm nervous, and I'm going to buy my first purchase, and what am I looking for here? I'm nervous.
Well, one, there's nothing to be scared about. You know, even if you're not a single mom and you're just scared, you're just buying your first house, and a lot of people say, I don't want to make that commitment. Well, you have to live somewhere, okay? Whether you're paying rent, you have to make that rent. That's a mortgage payment. It's not your mortgage payment. It's somebody else's mortgage payment.
Well, I was going to tell you, when I first, going on my story, when I first bought my first home many years back, I was young, the first thing that popped in my mind was like, oh my gosh, my mortgage. Yeah. I have to pay the mortgage. But I also didn't think about the apartment that I was paying for. You still have to pay for $800.
I don't know why people feel that it's more liability on a home. No, like if you don't pay your rent, I mean, you don't get like just slap on the wrist. Your credit gets hit. If you lose your home, your credit gets hit.
Yeah, and I think just being so young, your first thought is being committed to something. We're an apartment or
you're still
a rental.
Committed. You're in a lease.
Right.
You can't break it.
But,
you can't break that.
And I think that's exactly what it is. If you're surrounded by the wrong people, the wrong advice, like the friends we were sitting across from dinner, we're like, we have it and it went horrible. We can't pay the mortgage. I'm like, I'm going to make my first purchase. I'm only 22. Yeah. So I remember that. And if you're surrounded by that, you're going to
get in your head. And I just say, like, look, you could always sell your house. If God forbids I couldn't afford my home, I'm going to rent it out or sell it. I mean, what? I mean,
I'm a rent or sell it. That's your solution if you can't afford it.
Yeah, you can't afford it. Rent or sell it. Rent or sell it, or you know what I mean? Don't be afraid to make a purchase. And not only that, though, but it makes you feel good to have something that's yours, to have something that you worked for, and it pushes you to work even more. I have a mortgage. I have to make this payment. I have to work. I have no time to dwell on situations or anything that's happened to me. I don't have time to worry about that. I need to move forward. I need to move quickly. And another thing is, if you're gonna make the decision, do it quickly. You know, move forward quickly with things, and just don't wait. Like, a lot of people say, well, I'm gonna wait for the perfect time. I'm gonna wait next year. Like, I don't feel like there's a perfect time for anything. There's not a perfect time to get married. There's not a perfect time to have a kid. There's not a perfect time at all. I realized that.
You realize that after the baby?
Yeah, the perfect time.
When you're after the baby, you're like, you know what? There's never a perfect time to have you.
Yeah. You know, I always said at 25, I'm going to have a kid and be married. And I had a kid at 25, and I'm like, damn, I was really young. I was really young. I didn't get a lot done. But there's no perfect time really for anything. The perfect time, I always say, was yesterday. Yesterday was a perfect time to make a decision, and you didn't do it, you know. The perfect time to buy a house was 2011. The prices were so cheap, and you missed out because you didn't jump on it.
Well,
perfect time is now to buy a house. You know what I mean?
Goes to my next question. What made you become an agent?
I became an agent. That's a long story. I didn't intentionally become. Wanted to get my license and everything. I didn't even think about it. I had a lot of family actually that was in real estate, and they did really, really well. Really well. But I never thought of being an agent. I always wanted to be in marketing. I was going to ASU for marketing. I was also working at a bank, and I actually came from the banking industry, and I sucked. It was horrible. Like, I could not sell a bank account for the life of me. I could sell a house, a couple $100,000, but I can't. A free bank account.
Well, that goes to tell you can't sell what you don't have passion for.
Exactly, and I have passion about houses and everything in the process, and I basically lost my job at a bank.
Because you weren't good in sales.
Not because of that, actually, but they did tell me, if you don't sell any bank accounts, we're going to have to let you go, Brigette.
So how did you get into being an agent? Like, how did you think that was going to happen for you?
At the time, I was working at a restaurant, at a bar. at a bar, and I was working also at the bank, and I was taking all my tip money to my local bank, and they loved me there. I would talk to them all the time, I'd bring all my tip money, and they would conversate with me, and they all like loved me. And the manager, she told me, you know what, Bridget, like, do you want to leave that other branch and come here? You know, you have the job. We're hiring. I'm not going to even interview you. Like, you have it. You know, it's yours. So I went through the whole process, and the day that I was going to the day before that I was going to start, I got called from the corporate HR or whatever, and she told me that they're taking the position back from me after they had given it to me, and I went through all this, and I already gave my 2 weeks notice at my other job, and I was like, what do you mean? And all because they said on my resume that I wasn't correct about a time that I worked at a pizza place when I was like 16 years old. I was like 2 months off on the time frame, you know? I'm like, are you kidding me? You're gonna take my job away from me? Like, that should have been the first thing you verified if that really bothered you, you know what I mean? Anyways, I lost that job. I lost my other job. And I just started looking on Craigslist. I found a job. It was a receptionist. I didn't even know it was a real estate company. It was for a receptionist position. I started there. I got the job pretty much on the spot. I remember part of my job was cutting the checks. And I started seeing like, wow, like, this is like what am I doing here? You know, working my butt off, you know, 40 hours a week, and I could be making this type of money. So truthfully, and a lot of people in real estate, they're not gonna, it's weird, they don't admit the real reason why they joined real estate. A lot of people say, you know, I guess because it sounds better, that they came into real estate because they just wanted to help people. And of course I love helping people, you know, and all my clients, they feel that, and I always look out for the best interests. But I've always, again, wanted to do really well and be successful and be able to take care of myself if I ever needed to. And real estate was my answer to that. And when I got into it, then I started seeing, you know, the whole process of how it works, and seeing families like struggling to get a house, and then they close on the house, and I helped them purchase a home. And then I just started it becoming like a passion for me type of thing. And I can never see myself going back to like
yeah,
a 9
but
to
you
5
know,
job.
again, if you brought some really good points though. You wanted to make sure you were always okay. You didn't want to depend on, like you said, hiring, firing, and going through all that mess.
I wanted to be able to determine my own income.
Right.
And being 100%
But there has to be a
commission,
point in that process that you became an agent where you were just like, should have become an agent. Because it's one thing when you see all this money coming through as a receptionist, right, and cutting the checks and everything, but you don't realize how hard it is.
No, and that's why we have all these, everybody is an agent, you know, everybody knows an agent, everybody
so that goes my next thing is what made you so, okay, well, first, I want you to, like, is there any time in that time frame that you were just like, I should have just kept my job?
No, I felt like I could do it. This has
gotten very hard for me.
I feel like I could do it.
So there was never a time where real estate kind of stopped for you?
No, there was hard times, you know.
Then that's what I mean, like those hard times. Did you ever second guess, like, should I even be an agent?
Actually, yeah, in the very beginning, because a lot of people get their license. They think it's going to be glamorous. I'm going to show these fancy houses. I'm going to make all this money. And no, a lot of people aren't. And what's the AZ says, like, the statistic is like 10% of licensed agents, sell the most volume of the homes. And it's true. Not everybody survives in it because they can't do it. They realize it's hard. You don't get, what's the average of getting your first commission check? It takes like 4 months. It took me 4 months to get my first check. So a lot of people can't deal with working for weeks and months at a time and not getting something in return right away. That's
so what made it so different?
I just kept going. I just felt like I wanted to do this. I saw myself having a successful business. I knew I could do it. I honestly always also did love houses. I didn't really think about being a real estate agent, but I've always been into decorating, and you can see that in my, if you follow me on my page, I've always been into like interior design. I've always been into watching, those HGTV shows, like just watching all that, and I always did love that. I just never thought of it as a career, really.
Right.
Exactly, but it all just happened. It happened for a reason. I lost my job for a reason. I got into a real estate office for a reason.
So what makes you different to any other agent out there?
I feel that my clients get all of me. Like literally, they get all of me. They get all of my time, all of my attention. Also, I'm a full-time agent. I'm not a part-time agent. Like I always say, you can't.
So you're all in.
I'm all in. I'm all in. I do this full-time. There's no other distractions that I'm gonna say that I can't show you a home right now because I got another job on the side. Like, no, I'm here all the time to help you. And I think again, I do this for a living. I do this to survive. I'm going to give you all of me. I'm going to do the best I can to sell a home. It's getting even tough to sell homes, and you have to, you just have to like put so much into it.
You brought it very good right now. You have to just give all of you, right, into real estate. And I read something the other day that it's going to become a conversation piece because women in real estate, I've run into several women that feel like they have to stand up for themselves in a certain way because there's so many males out there as agents who try to overpower, obviously, the woman during a contract transaction or a real estate transaction or just something that goes south, the man will always somehow disrespect the woman in the sense of like, what do you know? Like, you know what I mean? Or you're a new agent to the industry. This is only your second year and you're a woman. What do you know?
I've always have confidence. The minute I got my license, and regardless if I didn't even know really how to do it, I've always, that's one of the most important things an agent needs.
And I've read this the other day where it's, I've read this in one of the books I was reading. It said, stand up for yourself without being overly aggressive. Exactly what does that mean? Because I know I run a brokerage. I own a brokerage. And for me to get to this point where I'm at right now, there was points where I was never, I don't think, aggressive, but people can probably thought like, wow, she's over the top aggressive. But what you don't realize of over the years, how many people trying to push me and try to stomp on me. So if I become this woman, I don't think I've ever become overly aggressive. I've just become powerful. I know what I want and I'm going to get it. And I'm going to go for it without being scared and fear and all this. But I've had a lot of men that stepped up and tried to make me feel otherwise. Or if we're over aggressive, we're just rude. We're too much. It's like, so how do you, what does that mean to you being a woman in real estate and dealing with all these other agents who are female, who are males, have been in the game for so long? How do you stand up for yourself?
I don't let it faze me. I do my own thing. I am confident in that I know what I'm doing. I'm confident that I know how to write a contract. I'm confident that I can beat out a multiple offer house, for my clients. I'm overly confident about all of that. And now you're not going to win them all, but I just feel like I just have that confidence that I know what I can give to my clients. I know if they're going to come to me, like, I'm going to help them get a house. You know what I mean? I just feel like that's the most important thing, is just having that confidence and just not letting it, don't let it distract you what others are doing, what others are telling you or telling you what's right. Like, I know what I'm doing. I know like this game. Like, I know how to close a deal. You know what I mean? I know.
And I love the fact that a lot of your social media out there, from your Facebook to your Instagram to everything that's out there, you make all these live videos and you talk with such power and confidence and just, it's beauty. And most people would be like, well, she's a little over the top, but it's not. You know that you have that confidence to close that deal and get the best offer, whatever, the sale for your client. That shows so much to me. When I do see a lot of that out there and it's more just homes, and it's like, what makes you different? Well, what makes you different, Brigette, is a lot of things that you post out there are live. And you share a lot of you. You share a lot of your son and the struggles and the good and the bad. And so that to me is like beyond confident. I mean, it's just, I know who you are and that's who I'm going to meet.
Yeah, exactly.
Not somebody like, man, you just sold me on, a great photo that I saw on Instagram.
Exactly. And I think that's why I actually get right now I'm getting a lot of my clients through Instagram. And I think it's because they see what I'm doing. They see how I go about things, how I go about the business, how I handle my clients, how I'm always on the go, how I'm always working, how no matter where I'm at, if I'm on vacation, I'm always taking care of my clients. And I think that's why a lot of my business has come actually this last year from my social media. And it's because the stuff that I put out there, and all the stuff that I put out there is what I really do and what I really go through. And they know if a seller comes to me and they want to sell their house, they know that I'm going to have the best pictures. I'm going to have their house shown the best possible way to get them the most money. They know what to expect if you come, if you come to me to help you. They know what to expect, and I think that's why it's worked for me, my social media, and
well, I love it. I love it. Again, tell us where we can find you.
So you can find me, if you, I have a website at www.BrigitteAlvarezSellsAZ.com. Also my social media, Brigette Alvarez Realtor, and that's Instagram. And then also I have Facebook. And then my number is 623-478-9356. And again, just I say follow me. And if you like what you see, and if you think that that can help you, with the biggest purchase of your life, I'm available.
There, you're not available to date. She's taken. But available to be your agent.
I'm not taking.
Oh, well, sorry. I know you want everybody to contact you on the dating portion of it, but all right.
No.
Brigette, what would you tell people who are wanting to make that change? People who have gone into the industry, who just got out of school and wanting to learn more about real estate, or someone who has been in the industry for many years and wanting to make a change. What would you tell people about A.Z. & Associates?
What I've seen, I think the most important thing is that it's not about all the technology. For me, it's not. And I feel for a lot of people, it really isn't. You don't need all this crazy technology all these companies that, we offer this technology and that to help you sell homes. What I feel that every agent really needs is the motivation. You need that constant motivation from your brokerage, because we're 100% commission. There's, we need that. We determine what we do on a daily basis. There's nobody telling us, this is your schedule, this is what you're going to do today, and, and then you're going to get a paycheck, at the end of 2 weeks. We need that motivation to create our own stuff daily to get our clients, to grow our business. And that's what I like about A.Z. & Associates, is that constant motivation, because you need, like if you're in sales of anything, you need constant daily reminders and daily motivation to keep going. You know what I mean?
What you know now. I'm in the industry for how many years? 6 years?
I've been a licensed agent for, I think it's 4 years, but I've been in the real estate industry for about 8 years.
Wow, your business is booming. What would you do? What would you have done different the first couple of years?
The first couple of years, well, I actually had my son, I think a year after I was in the year after real estate. I had him right away, after I started real estate.
To see where you're at today,
I feel like I'm just awesome. Starting, kind of deal. I feel like last year I was just kind of starting, even though I had my license 2 years prior. I just feel like I'm just starting, because I kind of was held back a little bit because I had my son and it was hard. I couldn't juggle. But once I figured out, okay, I'm going to put him in daycare, I'm going to make this work, and then I'm going to just bust my butt and just keep my business going, because I don't want to go back to 9-to-5 job. I can't ever see myself doing that. So I have to make real estate work. You know what I mean?
I love that. I think I said it earlier in this time we were together, but we've known each other for quite some time. We've come from another. She saw when I was an agent and we were running REOs in real estate, and so she saw a lot of our growth, Brigette, here. So it's kind of nice that I'm seeing the same thing here. We get to share that in the environment. Yes, it's very much important.
Yeah.
And that was why I'm so glad that I have you on here in the podcast today, because I'm able to share that Brigette has watched us from the beginning in our growth.
And that was the reason
she saw so
that
much
the A.Z. & Associates was my first brokerage to even go to. I didn't interview 10 brokerages. I didn't, and I've stayed here ever since. I've never been with another brokerage. But I knew immediately the minute I got my license that I was coming to A.Z., only because I knew what you guys can do. I've seen, the type of business you guys had. Also, Ruben Luna, I knew really well, and his team, and I saw and I wanted to be surrounded by agents like that. I didn't want to go to an office that had like 400 agents and half of them don't even do nothing. They're part-time, or they don't even close a deal. I wanted to be around agents where I saw my business that I wanted to be in the future. And that's why I've come here, and that's why I've stayed here, because I've grown since, you know what I mean?
I've heard that in the last podcast that I had with the last lady. That's incredible. Thank you for sharing that.
No problem.
And thank you for joining me today, Brigette.
Thank you for having me.
Now, I just love bringing so many different women, and we all have so many different opinions. And so many things to say about real estate, women in real estate. It's incredible. And if it is something that you are wanting to know more about us here at A.Z. & Associates Real Estate Group, go to badassagents.com. Click on the link and register. We'll give you a call. There's so much to know here.
Yeah.
So come, fill out the application, badassagents.com. Get to know more about us. I'll talk to you soon. Thank you again, Brigette,
Thank
for
you
joining
for having me.
So,
Thank you.
talk to you guys soon. Bye.